it easy for you. You just have to show up and do a podcast.
I know.
Podcast time.
Podcast time.
We love talking to wineries and proprietors and CEOs of these awesome
companies,
wineries. And today we have one of our favorites. Actually, we had a friend that lived in California, and they visited your winery and bought a bunch of bottles and tried it and just came away raving.
Yeah.
And had nothing but great things to say about Dutchess Crossing Winery. And then when we posted that we were going to do a podcast with you all, they just freaked out and I was like, this is my favorite winery. Yeah. I remember the day I was there. I
can't believe this.
And so we have the proprietor of Dutchess Crossing Winery, Debra Mathy. It's an honor to have you on the podcast this week.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thanks for agreeing.
It's nice to sit down and chat and lay low and have fun for an hour on my day instead of working.
Yes. Yeah. So where are you right now? It looks like some kind of office.
I'm in my conference room. You can see my pet duck behind me.
Yes. All good conference room needs a duck.
Yeah, it's my Easter egg that I always like to throw in. I'm in my conference room. I was out in the vineyards at about 6 this morning, talking with my facilities manager, like early at 7. Finally have settled in. I just kicked my winemaker out. He was sad to leave. Having a harvest plan. So, this is really the first downtime for me since I got up and got going at 6 this morning. So.
Oh wow, long day.
Yeah, it's a fun day. It's not the same thing. I do different things every single day, so it's not monotonous for me. And it's very seasonal and changes, and that's why I love the industry.
Yeah. Are you in Sonoma right now?
I am. I'm in Dry Creek Valley, which is in northern Sonoma. We're in the Healdsburg, Geyserville area. About an hour and 10 minutes north of San Francisco, about 20 minutes from Santa Rosa, the heartbeat of Charles Schultz and Snoopy. Sorry.
Snoopy.
Twins yesterday. Yeah, so we are in this beautiful, it looks like Italy here. Not to knock the other valleys, we are one of the most beautiful valleys in Napa and Sonoma. The breathtaking views of the hills and the vines and the culture, and you just can't beat Dry Creek Valley. It's got a family feel. You see winemakers and owners on site all the time, and this is what it used to be 30 years ago in Napa. If you want to feel wine industry, come to Dry Creek. I mean, the pulse is strong.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Now you made me want to go, especially when you're talking about the scenery and everything like that. And just, I can imagine myself sipping on some wine, looking over the rolling hills. And it's pretty cool that you get to see that every day.
Yeah, that's my office. I walk through a breezeway. I don't know how many people have looked at our website, but we have we did a drone video, and I get to walk through that and hang out. That's my office. I can take my computer, sit outside, look at the scenic, backdrop of our winery, and it's life's not too bad, especially when you talk to your brothers back in Wisconsin in the middle of winter. It's what are you doing? I'm it's 80. I just put sunblock down, and I'm sitting outside working, and then you just hear a click, and they've hung up. And
oh my gosh!
Yeah, we've been on the website. The winery looks beautiful. The grounds look amazing.
Yes.
One day we would love to come and sip wine there for sure. But yeah, so tell us how you got started.
Yeah, well, I want to roll back. You said you're from Wisconsin. So I lived in Minnesota for a while. I was born in Michigan, so I'm very familiar with a northern accent. And wait, what? I was in White Lake. I don't know if you're familiar.
How far is that?
It's UP? Pontiac, Michigan.
Okay. My dad was born in the UP.
Okay.
So, yeah, super familiar with Michigan. And, grew up in Wisconsin,
Yeah.
Then I left because I graduated high school and had to go study and be an adult and find jobs and all of this stuff. But like my mom and dad opened the door for me in high school. Like, to be honest with you, and I know my French teacher has passed away, so I can say this, I don't want to hurt her feelings. I only took French class because I wanted to go to France in high school, do the French trip. And my dad's like, you need to learn to speak the language. So I took 3 years of French, and in junior year, I went to France. And I don't know where I thought wine came from, other than the really nice, fine liquor store on the holidays. But I saw vineyards in a winery and went, oh, like people do this for a living. This is great. And I announced to my parents at 2 in the morning after I returned from the trip that I was going in the wine industry, and they kind of laughed and said, "Go get an education, go get a job." And like, okay, but I kept coming back to it. I come from a family business, knew I was going to do business, but did not want to do the family business. I just kept coming back to the wine industry. And, I have great parents. My dad passed, but they were super supportive. My brothers are super big cheerleaders, and we were encouraged to go spread our wings, do whatever we thought was right for us. And had big cheerleaders from the family, and when my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma, he said, "What do you want to do? Are you happy? Are you content?" I said, "Life's good for me, but I still want to do the wine industry." He said, "Let's be together as long as I have life." You have that epiphany of when someone's got stage 4 cancer, you don't wait until you're tired to do what you love or want to do, because you may never get that opportunity. So my dad encouraged me to set off on the journey, and he was with me all the way through. It's about a 4-year journey, and he passed away 3 months before I bought Dutch Crossing. And my brothers asked where I was after he died with wine industry, and I said, "I really love this winery, Dutch Crossing, except it's not for sale." I kept comparing everything that was for sale to Dutch Crossing, and my oldest brother, God bless him, he goes, "Just go ask. What's the worst they're going to tell you? Is no." Like, that's not a horrific thing. At least you tried. And they didn't say no. They said, let me think about it. And it was after we got my mom settled, and once they said yes, we went very quickly. They didn't want to change their mind, and 37 days later, I bought a winery. So about 3 months
Wow.
after my dad died, they say never do any life-changing things after a significant loved one dies. For about a year, and just go buy a winery and jump 2 feet into the wine industry, because that makes sense. But it life's short. Do what you love. Be passionate about it. Go 2 feet in, and there are plenty of times my first year I went, "What am I doing here? Like, I don't know if this is right. I don't know if I'm the right person for this." Like, I just kept swimming and keeping my head above water, surrounding myself with the right people. My brother said, after a year, it will feel natural. Just keep going. You can do it. Encouraged me. And 16 and a half years later, loving getting up every day and the challenge, and thinking it's great, except for certain times like fires or other unfortunate things. And um, it's been a great adventure. But this was where I was meant to be. There are plenty of wineries out there for sale, but it just felt like,
Hmm.
yeah.
So on the website, I was reading that when you bought the winery in 2007, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
They were only doing how many varietals? 7?
They were doing
5?
about 6 different wines. That's about it.
Okay.
6 or 7
different
different.
wines.
And now I
Okay.
make 32 different wines.
That's what I read.
32. Wow.
32. Like, their goal was eventually to be all estate. When I bought it, was in a period of redevelopment and replanting. So they subsidized their fruit with some other vineyard designates. And I really loved the vineyard designates, and thought we could continue with both. Um, and you know, I grew up thinking if you have quality people with talent, find a job for them. If you have quality fruit, find a place for it. So when opportunities arose, we grabbed the fruit when it was available and challenge our staff to rise to the occasion, make really good wine from it, challenge the staff that's in sales to be able to sell it. And it's been a fun learning curve and growth for us. And the team's really has risen to the challenge, I guess.
What would you say has been the hardest or most difficult part of owning a winery?
That's kind of a twofold question. I think it's difficult in this kind of probably controversial. I think it's sometimes hard to navigate the changes of regulations here in California. That's a hard challenge because it brings in water rights and everything. So that's been a challenge as far as here in California. I think owning a winery is so dependent on Mother Nature.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I may plan to produce 15,000 cases, but because of the elements and the season, the growing season, I may only be able to produce 8,000. And it's hard to run a business where you cannot count on um, having consistent volume. Sure, I could go maybe buy some lesser quality fruit to bump up my volume, but if it's low for me, it's low for everybody. And I don't want to jeopardize quality just for quantity. So I think that's kind of a challenge because it's changing. And the only year was my first year where my production plan was laid out and it was right on. Otherwise, it's not even close. So
Wow.
yeah.
Did you feel like being from Wisconsin, like were you really welcomed into like the California culture and like the people, other winemakers and other wineries, or was that a little bit challenging at first? And what's that looked like?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think half of the people welcome me with open arms. Like, you get nervous, the customers get nervous, like change of ownership, things are going to change. And as they saw me behind the bar, they saw me out, in the backyard, they saw me on the crush pad, they welcomed me with open arms. They realized quickly I was here long term and it wasn't just kind of a hobby for me. So I think that demographic was super welcoming. I think there's some people in the industry that have seen a lot of people come and go. And
Hmm.
so I think they reserve judgment for a later date to make sure they want to see you prove yourself and that you're committed. Um, but most of them kept a open mind and let me prove myself. And some it took a couple of years to prove myself that I was here, part of the community. Um, it was I was going to be here for long term, but it's some of it. I still am not proving myself because I'm not fifth generation. So there's nothing you can do about those people, and I'm here. I'm going to be here. I'm going to retire here. I'm active in the community, and not everybody's going to like you, and that's okay. But the ones with open minds have accepted us and welcomed us and welcome that we don't always do things exactly the wine industry way, but when we came in, but there's more and more new generations, next generations that are doing that as well. So it's becoming. So I don't
Yeah.
know if that answers your question.
No, totally does. I was just curious because I'm like, man, we've done interviews with people. It's rare that I've met somebody from Wisconsin like has made that big of a trek to California and that has like started this, your own wine empire. So I just think that that's like really cool
And inspiring
and
too,
inspiring. Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I'm sure a part of you feels like it sounds like you were really close to your father. Like, you're kind of doing this in part for him too. And, you know, he's looking down on you and seeing everything that you're accomplishing. And I mean, that's pretty big to do this big of an undertaking. Like not everybody can do that.
You know,
So,
it's a big undertaking, but I wouldn't be here without the support of my mom and my two brothers. Super supportive, biggest cheerleaders, and I'm surrounded by really good people at the winery. Uh, you know, we can only be successful if the people around me uh, are buying into the goal. And um, you know, I surround myself with more expertise in certain departments, and it takes the stress down a bit and makes it feel like you're not as alone. Like it's more of a collaboration to drive to do the right thing.
yeah, I love that. You're not like, it's all about me. Like I need other people to like make me be my best. And it takes a village, it takes a team. And that's cool. I love that.
Yeah, because even on the website, because I've studied it, you were talking about the staff, you know, in the tasting room and your winemaker, and it takes a team to
Make it
yeah,
happen.
make the best product, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool.
Well, let's dive into talking about some of the wines. So I want to know, like, so what are the varieties that you grow the most of? What are you really excited about that you're doing? Yeah, talk a little bit about the wines that you grow and what you like about it.
Well, I mean, we have about 75 acres of vines. Not everything is grown to be in our production, so I have a separate vineyard company. So technically, I grow the most Cabernet, but quite a bit of it is sold off to other wineries. We cherry pick what we want, and that comes from our Dutch Cross and Maine estate that goes into our proprietor's reserve. And then we grow Zin because I'm in Zinfandel, the heart of Zinfandel country. And we grow great Rhone varietals because I went to Southern Rhone region of France. Of course, I had to do something that was inspired by that. So we grow Grenache and Mourvedre, Cinsault, Counois. Um, you know, we grow Chardonnay, a very special clone out here in Dry Creek. I have a Pinot vineyard, so we grow a lot of things, I guess. But I don't grow Sauv Blanc, but I buy Sauv Blanc. I make Sauv Blanc Chardonnay. I make Riesling. I make Sparkling. I make Zin, Syrah, Petit Syrah, Cabernet, red wine blend that's Rhone inspired. I make port. What am I missing? I source some Cab Franc. I source some Merlot for a cab. Like we're crazy busy. Like I can make what we do. Um, like I can make 10,000 cases and make 5 different wines. But you know, I'm that crazy wine owner that says, "Hey, I want to have 75 different lots come in to make the 10,000 cases." And the winemakers are good with that. They are so committed to doing it the right way, making the best wine and not the easiest way.
Hmm.
So I may make for, you know, one of my Zins, I may have 7 different components that go into that one Zin blend. Sure, we could throw them all together and make one lot, but we're not sure if that would be the best. So we ferment a lot of things separately and then blend after the fact. And it takes a lot more work, it takes a lot more commitment, and thankfully I have the team that's willing to do things, strive to be quality instead of trying to do it the easiest, because that's not always the right way. So, you know, we make 32 different wines and it takes about 72 plus different lots to do that. And every once in a while during harvest, we have beer up there because it takes a lot of beer to make great wine. You know, so happy winemakers when they're tired and grumpy, and my assistant will feed them throughout the season. But you know, our approach is simple: do it the right way, or we're not going to do it at all. and that goes from our growing, that goes from who we deal with as vineyard owners. We deal with uh, vineyard owners that are committed to high quality practices. So, kind of what we practice is what we want to be surrounded with, whether we own it or not.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We are drinking personally. We were sent the Zinfandel, and I love the 9% Petite Syrah on this as well
Mm-hmm.
because I really get on the back end of that kind of helps structure it and give it that. We love a good Zin,
Yeah, and
but we love Petite Syrah too.
yeah. Well, and I really enjoy Zin during like the warmer months too. Like you can have it all year, but I'm like if I'm gonna do a red, I like to do Zin. I don't know. I like it. Maybe it's a little bit chilled and the fruitiness of it, and I don't know. And I eat a lot of pizza like all the time, and I love Zinfandel with pizza. Um, but this is really good.
This is unbelievable.
I love this. This is really good. Why don't you tell us about this
So
wine?
the Maple Vineyard is one of the famed vineyards here in Dry Creek. It's up on the bench in Dry Creek. So the bench is like maybe 100 feet elevated from the valley floor. And, in general, um, it was founded by Tom and Tina Maple, and they were kind of difficult, but charming, difficult to deal with. Like you needed to make sure I had to prove I was worthy of their grapes before they sold me the grapes. And they sort of interrogated me to make sure I was good because I was a newbie in. It's like, oh my gosh. And
How did
yeah,
you prove you were worthy?
well, like every once in a while, they just pop in and be like, we want to taste your wine. And I'd be like, well, it's my wine. No, it was your grapes. And so they'd come and taste the wine. They didn't want me to leave after a few years. They wanted to make sure I was here to stay. They wanted to make
Mhm.
sure I kept the same winemaker. Uh, like even to the point of I could not go to a breeder to get a dog. I had to rescue a dog if I was going to get
What?
a dog. It's like if I go get a puppy, they're like, "What rescue house has a puppy?" I'm like, "Oh dear, okay, let me figure this out," because they're all about rescue dogs. So I didn't want to lose my fruit because I went to a breeder for a dog, and like they were, it was their way or the highway, regardless what you did. So to be honest with you, my mom made friends with Tina. I made friends with Tina and I spent. They threatened if I ever drove by their house and didn't stop after 5, they'd be mad. Wouldn't sell fruit to me. So
Sounds like the mafia.
Yeah.
so I spent the first 6 months driving around, taking the long way home after 5, so I didn't, you know, irritate them. So I made a mistake, and I was like 5:30. Ran up there. I drove past their house, so I pulled in. And where we broke the ice was I came running up the stairs because they're like, "Come on up, have a glass of sparkling." I'm like, "Oh, like why did they come this way?" And I come up there. They're in matching dresses. They're in matching moons, and I thought, I'm in California. Like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And they're like, "You want some sparkling?" Yes, I would like some sparkling. I know people in matching dresses. Then they put me in their golf cart. And we're drinking sparkling, and I go around the golf cart, and I'm getting a personal tour. If they each had names of the vines, they would have introduced me to every vine, but I got the personal tour of this head trained 15,000 vine property. And they loved every vine, and they were passionate of every vine. And I thought, okay, they're not crazy. They just love what they do. I can handle this. I can do this. And that's part of what makes their grapes special. They loved them. They were on their hands
Mm.
pruning them. They talked to them. They piped music out to them. They wandered. they just loved everything about it. And like you look at these vines, they're gnarly, head trained dry farm vines and just ancient, but they loved. And I thought that's what makes this wine unique.
Mm.
And every
Mm.
block is different. Every block is named after a dog that's passed away, and it's like, okay, like they're really into everything that they're telling me, and it's a special vineyard, and we get twisted oak, um, the zin from twisted oak that Tina actually twisted the oak as it grew. It's actually this twisted oak in the middle of the vineyard that grew. It's like everything about them is detail oriented, and we grabbed the petite syrah that's from around their house, and my dogs have played in, and so I feel it's kind of part of my family. But uh, the petite syrah is almost better than the Zen, and they're known for Zen. Petite syrah is through the roof, and every Zen, at least they're the growers that understand Zen and petite syrah go together. So you get blackberries, you get this kind of beautiful baking spice.
Mm.
I get a little lavender, depending on
Mm-hmm.
the vintage. I get a little bit of blueberry pie in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, even though it's a pepper, it's almost like a white pepper for me than a black pepper.
I love the nose on this wine.
Oh, it's really
It
pretty.
is
I
very
mean,
beautiful.
it's I love all my zins. I make a ton of zins, but the maple vineyard zin we make is special for me. Like Tina's one of my best friends. From me having to prove myself to be worthy of her grapes to now she spends holidays with me.
Wow.
We spent a lot of time. Um, she came and helped me when my one dog passed. She was there for me. Like she's one of those people I talked about. Was she accepting right away? No, she wasn't. But is she one of my best friends now? Absolutely. So it's special to me in that sense. It's special to me as this wine was here, this vineyard was here by the founders. Um, but it's just an iconic dry grape Zen. And it's just fun, It's what a Zen should be. Like drink it with anything except sushi.
Hmm. I love that story. I love how you had like the epiphany too. And then like, once you really got in there and it kind of like unfolded this layer of who these people were, it made you be like, oh my gosh, like this, they just love this with everything in them,
I mean, come
and
on.
that, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
come on.
And
They
that,
were matching dresses, caftans. Like, I didn't know what I was into. And, and, and like, they welcome anybody up there with sparkling. Come on, like y'all and I, sparkling is kind of a special occasion wine. That's how we grew up, right?
yeah.
But people out here drink it every single day to start their evening. It's like normal. Like, and these
Wow.
are the people that drink it every single day. And I thought,
Yeah.
okay, you are enjoying the culture of wine country. I need to stop and smell the roses and stop here more often. So,
Totally. Well, and it makes you think too, like the fact that they had this, I mean, that this was so important to them. That's what took them a while for you to like, for them to trust because they're like, no, like we want, we love this so much. It's so important to us that we don't want other people to like take advantage of that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think that's really, I love that story. That was such a
That
fun
was, yeah,
story.
that was a great story.
I mean, I was scared to death of it. To be honest, I cannot. It was a highly fought after and sought after vineyard to have. Um, and they were handshake by handshakes only. So I mean, you could have lost your fruit at any time, and you have my founding winemaker going, "Don't screw this up." It's like, oh, okay, well, here we go. Let's cross our fingers. So I think it's one of my special wines, um, just because I have a close attachment. He has since passed, Tom,
Hmm.
and and we made a special wine for him from his vineyard, where Tina and her family, her niece and nephew, came down and blended it with us. I mean, the evolution of business acquaintances to family and friendship has been fun with this vineyard. That's why I think it was important for us to send the maple, because it is a family wine for us.
Yeah.
We're so glad you did. It's a wonderful wine. So all that to say, you're not making the long detours around to avoid their property now, right?
No, I usually just go over there. Tina makes me dinner every once in a while, and she does. Can you come for dinner? I said, well, she's like, tells me what she's making. But honestly, the minute I sit down and watch a movie, because there's always a movie. She's a great cartoon animated movie fan. I sit down and fall asleep because it's o'clock, and then I'm tired. So now it's like, would you like to come take a nap? And fix me a doggy bag, and if I go home. So I do not make detours, but it's evolved to like aunt type person that's like, I know you need some rest. I've heard you've been running and chasing, so it's nap time. Come decompress for 2 hours, and then I'll send a care package home.
See, it's progressed from detours to your nap spot now, your siesta spot.
Yeah, he can relate to that.
I am just like you, Deborah.
Oh my gosh, he can nap anywhere, anytime.
I'm gonna go. Like, I like to move. I like to keep going. But once I sit down,
he's out.
I'm out.
It's like, there you go. It's like, I can't even tell you that I've never watched a movie fully at that. So it's great naps.
They're like, I don't want to go to the movie with Deborah. She will fall asleep.
Well, that's why she goes to the movies. Deb's like, I gotta pick a movie so I can go get a nap in.
Just go to the boring ones.
It's not like it's a Marvel movie theater with eye candy for me. It's like,
yeah.
If I watch Thor, I'm going to stay awake. But like, maybe watching Pixar, it's a little bit different. So
tell us.
Tell
us what you were off recording. You were talking about, just basically being a glorified farmer, and that's really what wine and the wine world and winemaking is all about, owning a winery like that. Tell us about that.
Well, I mean, my brother asked, is it everything you thought it would be? It's nothing like I thought it would be. Like, I didn't get into this industry because I thought I wanted to dig in the dirt and walk in the vines and having to deal with rattlesnakes and coyotes and picking at 2 a.m. There is nothing glamorous about that. And nor did I realize that it would be a complete lifestyle. Like, I don't turn it off when I go home. I don't turn it off when I go to restaurants, because I'm still tasting and trying wines and talking to customers, and I see people that visit here. I may see out in the community, so I might have to stop by choice, and I have a beverage with them. But this farming lifestyle is hard. It's you're up at 6. You might get home at 5, but need to go back out, and might have 8-hour days. You might have 18-hour days. It is nothing at all like I thought it would be. And to be honest with you, being a winery owner is great. I get to deal with customers and get to be part of their lives. They send me pictures of I'm drinking wine at a celebration and meeting new people and traveling the world and so forth. Like, that's what everybody thinks it is. But I'm out in the dirt probably 4 to 6 hours a day, just checking the vines. Like, right now, I'm looking for any color changes. So, I guess I told you, like, when I travel, like, if it's a cute boy, ask me what I do. It's like I own a winery, because that engages dialogue with him. But if it's someone that I don't want to talk to for a long distance flight to Australia or to Europe, I'm a farmer. No one cares. No one's interested in hearing about that. It all depends on what I do, and it's even to the point, like, I never thought I'd be a farmer. Like, even as a kid from farm country or farming state, my nephew-in-law actually refers to me as Farm. That's what his nickname is for me. So it's kind of come full circle and starts to haunt me as nicknames. But you know what? These farmers, like, I'm not out pruning the vines. Not happening, because the guys don't want me anywhere near the vines with something sharp. But they work hard. These vineyard guys work hard. They work in heat. They work in bad conditions. No one wants bugs all over you. No one wants to start picking at 8 at night and finish at 6 in the morning. Like, they are our guys in the vineyard. We wouldn't be here without good working guys and women. We love the lady crews. Like, my vineyard manager loves hiring the lady crews because of the quality of work. Like, we wouldn't be here without them. Like, I can't keep up with them. At the rate they go, and they happily do it, and the quality they do, my goodness, like, they make farming look easy even though it's hard.
Hmm.
So after a long day in the vineyard, you spent 6 hours in there. What's your beverage of choice, your first beverage that you go to after being in the vineyard?
An iced tea.
Iced tea. All right.
An iced tea, depending on the season. My adult beverage I go to, I probably have a gin and limeade. And
We
then
love
I'm a
gin.
big Cabernet drinker. So my meals always somehow forcibly have a cab alongside of them. But if it's hot out, like, I'm not a big rosé fan, and my winemaker's not here, so I can say it. I'll have a chilled glass of rosé. It's his project. He loves it. I have a little bit of anger towards it because when we first started doing it, it caused a lot of problems with picking the glass and making the label, and so there's a little bit of resentment towards it. But, like, I drink it when I'm not in his presence or anybody's from the winery's present, because I will never have it, like, actually documented on video that I'm drinking a rosé.
You
So
don't want to give them that satisfaction.
I don't want to give him that satisfaction, but it's my hot tub wine. Chill it down.
hot tub wine. So I was gonna say, you don't have a problem with the taste. It's more like the process it took to, like, bottle and do all that.
It's like it went into shiners. And then, we were not ready with the right label. It wasn't approved. It wasn't developed. So, like, I felt unprepared for that. And I'm still punishing the wine for 11 years ago. I'm still bitter at the wine that did nothing to me. So,
Wow. I like that it's a hot tub wine, though. I love hot tubs.
everybody should have a hot tub wine. Everybody should have a porch pounder. And everybody should have it just kick back with a bowl of popcorn and watch a movie. Wine. And
I
that's
love that.
I do too. That's a great
I agree
idea.
with that.
That's
I
an idea
support
for
that.
a video.
I support that.
Woo. I was gonna ask you, what's your opinion on, like, natural wine? Because that's kind of started to become really popular. Do you like it? What do you think about all that?
Like, I never want to poo-poo anything. Um, I appreciate the people that have that belief, but it's not something that we strive for, I guess, is the most political way of saying it. We try to be minimalists in our approach. And we feel safe that way, making wine that way, if that's what answers your question.
There's nothing wrong with that. I think everybody has a lane, and if you feel like you're in your lane, you're doing the best wine that you and other people can kind of do their thing. Great.
Yeah, totally.
It's natural wines, it's biodynamic wines. Everybody's got their philosophy, um, like I appreciate it. I enjoy them, um, but I'm most comfortable in the lane I'm in.
That you're in.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, it's
not
just
from California.
interesting.
I gotta be politically correct, right?
Oh, totally. No, totally. We get that. It's just like I get interested by like all the different trends that happen, and then like also, when certain trends do happen, then like there's misconceptions that can happen in like commercially, like you'll be on Instagram and you'll see these ads for like all wine has tons of sugar in it, so you can only drink our wine because we're not adding pounds of sugar. And like I feel like that's a misconception. Like I feel like you're kind of leading the public in
Yeah,
the
no
wrong
one's adding
way.
sugar. It's illegal,
Right.
right? But like the fact is, know your wines because most of them that you're drinking from boutique wineries, like my Zin may taste have a sweetness to it, but it's completely dry. There's no sugar left.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I think it is not. I'm not trying to knock the natural um, industry, but it's not a regulated term yet. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
old vine Zen. What really is that? But it sells.
Mm-hmm.
You see an old vine Zen, you automatically think, oh, that's better. But is it? And is it a 20-year-old vine or is it a 100-year-old vine?
Like it
What?
doesn't say.
Where is the regulation? Where is the parameters of what really makes a certain wine a certain way? So I just I you know no one's adding tons of sugar. It's natural. We don't use the term natural. We use the term, we're minimalists. We try to manipulate it as little as we can. But there's also no regulation in that. Um, so, I mean, everybody uses maybe certain terms for marketing purposes.
Oh, totally. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was like getting at. And also what I think can be like confusing to consumers because I do feel like the more and more we've dove into this over the past 3 years, I'm like, wow, there's not a lot of regulations over certain things with wine. And that gives room for people to just say whatever, even though it's not true. And then it can mislead the public to be like, oh, well, if it's not biodynamic and sustainably farmed and natural and organic, then that means I can't drink it. Or they've been led to believe that sulfites is what they're allergic to when that's completely not true. And I mean, maybe some people are very, very, very few, but I think that, you talk to someone that's new to drinking wine. I mean, and I work at Trader Joe's and I get confronted with a lot of people that are, trying to figure out wine and they're like, well, I'm allergic to sulfites. And I'm like, really? Like, I mean, are you? I'm like, are you just drinking too much or are you drinking, it might be the histamines in the wine that are bothering you. I said, I doubt that it's the sulfites. And so they're all looking for these sulfite free. I just like, there's so much misinformation. And I think that does get frustrating, when people are trying to figure out what they should drink.
Yeah, I think you have to trust your. It's like a jeweler or a lawyer. You got to trust them, like your wine educator. You got to trust who's giving you advice. Like bottom line is, you drink too much of a wine with sugar in it, you're going to get a headache. It has
Right.
nothing to do with sulfites. Uh, like
Even a
I
little
get
more.
it. It just wasn't the right wine for you. It wasn't the right balance. It doesn't mean you can't have red wine. So, yeah, I think it's an interesting thing. Back when I got, uh, really into drinking and being able to afford going from Behringer Whites into a little bit, Kendall Jackson, Chardonnay, like buying more expensive wines. I bought an organic wine that had started to re-ferment. I'm like,
Hmm.
I really don't like it. And then it was like, well, it was re-fermenting. Like, so sometimes you kind of go, I get it. It was one of the early natural wines. It's like, okay, that didn't work. It went back. And it went through a big recall, one of these wines. And I think you just gotta do what you're comfortable with, and
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think from the new generation and even the older winemakers are buying in, less is more. Let's do the minimum of do just enough, and I think it's catching on um, more and more across the industry. But I don't. You, the words that are used, old wine, natural wine, over, there's no regulation. So
Right.
Can that be frustrating in your world that I feel like the wine world is so regulated in a sense, like
In a sense, it's weird.
labels and,
Yeah.
this kind of
But
stuff.
then
But
other
then
ways
in
it's
other stuff,
not
it's
at
like there's no
all.
regulation. So is that kind of frustrating to you or?
I think sometimes it's frustrating me. Like I don't always know what's regulated and what's not. What I can use in terms, what I cannot use. Um, I also think that thankfully I have younger staff that's kind of monitoring the new trends um, and trying to stay ahead and sending me emails or asking for time. Like maybe this is something we should talk about. But it is hard to overcome misconception with consumers. Like, uh, just like you go to Australia, you buy a wine, and red wine is a twist top. Americans think it's cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Stocks are still viewed as cheap, and there's
Mhm.
nothing anybody can do to overcome that for people my age or older. That's just what we're taught. So I think sometimes you you can't break someone's beliefs, and most of them aren't educated beliefs, but um, you just need to be confident in what you do and let your product shine through. So it's difficult to keep up with the trends, but you shouldn't be shifting your products for trends if they don't follow your core beliefs. So it's all over.
Yeah.
Like orange wine. Okay. Like that was a hot topic for, a year, having the orange wine. Um, but,
Right.
I get it. The younger kids want sustainability. They're mindful about things that maybe my generation isn't. So some trends are staying with lighter packaging, lighter weight bottles, and all of that stuff. And so I got young staff that's helping me navigate that. But as far as the wine trends, there's going to be wine trends forever. But if you think about it, for a long time, wine hasn't changed, and it still doesn't change.
You
Mhm.
don't want to be the forever 21 of wine.
No, right? I mean, we're still. I mean, concrete's coming back in. Concrete was big decades ago, and now it's coming back in. Like, you know, oak barrels have been around forever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so it's a slow to change things, but trends come in and out, and I think they're more for limited, demographics. So,
Yeah, it's funny too. I mean, and that's like that with all of life. I mean, there's trends with clothing. I mean, now young girls are all wanting to look like they were in the 90s and the 80s and then they act like this had never existed before and it's like, "Oh no, that's always kind of been a thing." And so I mean, I definitely think that's true. I mean, wine is one of the oldest things in existence that's been being made for and I think sometimes it's good to just be like, well, if this has lasted this long, why go too far away from such a good thing?
I mean, I think the trend of lower alcohol wines is great. No one
Mm,
needs these big 16 plus wines,
yeah.
right? I mean, there's certain trends like that you kind of go, I can get behind and I agree with them. Just because we have better understanding of how things age and, the trend of laying wine down for 30 years and then it's going to be good. Like, I'm not buying wine for my nieces and nephews to inherit. Like, I want a wine I can drink now. right? But I can age it and forget about it and pull it out in 10 years. Like if I don't like it now, don't tell me I'm really going to like it in 30 years because
Yeah.
eating habits aren't the same. So, I mean, there's certain trends I can get behind, and some of that is lower alcohol, and some of it is approachable earlier but ageable. So those are the trends I can get behind. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said.
I like that.
Well said. Well, tell us what's on the horizon for you
Yeah.
all.
Before we end
Like,
this, tell us about what's on the horizon.
what are you excited about? What are you guys working on? What do you want people to know?
you know, we're excited. We think harvest is maybe a month out. I saw some color in the Syrah and on Friday. You know, I sent out the text, and the next thing you knew, two winemakers were walking up and down looking for the colors. I know it's three berries on this row. Uh, so we're prepping for harvest that should happen in a month. And probably a week before harvest starts, we're going to bottle about 3,000 cases. So I got stressed out winemakers right now because, you know, it's critical time stuff going in the bottle. I'm most excited. We did a lovely Sauv Blanc for my dad, a tribute wine that was done in cigar barrels.
Oh,
What?
wow.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's a little bit crafted more like a Chardonnay, and it has this beautiful texture of malt, and it's a fun wine. It was kind of an experiment and challenge to the winemakers, and it just released, so I'm super excited about that. We got some new wines that are called stages. We got the fourth and fifth stage that are coming out. Every once in a while, you know, we have a blending philosophy here. The winemakers come. We have some wines that they, you know, want to try together and blend and make something special in it. And when they do, they're like, can we decrease the production of three Chardonnays? Because we made a blend from three different Chardonnays, and it's fantastic. So every once in a while, they hit the jackpot, and we have two of those jackpots coming out. So we're excited about that, and you know, it's kind of, you know, they think they created the wheel when they hit that. You know, these work great together. So we got some fun wines coming out, and we got some harvest dinners, and we got some new experiences. We're working on a barrel room, a little part of it, so to have more intimate experiences with our guests. I'm going to visit the home state of Wisconsin, so I'm hauling back some bratwurst from my home state and
Yes.
Nice.
here. So lots of stuff going on, and I hopefully won't set the grill on fire with my brats. Trying to cook 500, there's a lot of grease that come out of those.
lot of
Yeah,
grease.
that's a lot. Wow, I love bratwurst. So, oh my god, so good. Bratwurst wine doesn't get any better than that.
Right? And
Well-
beer. Got to do brats during harvest because winemakers are consuming beer. So
Yeah.
give them a little brats. So
Yes.
Oh man, you've been so fun to talk to, and you're so funny. I love your sense of humor.
well, thank you for having me, and everybody
Yes.
come visit. You two should come visit and blend with us, or get on the crush pad and do harvest with us for a day.
We would absolutely
We would
love
love
that.
that.
Like it's, you know, because we've been doing this. We started it during the pandemic, like literally like 2 months before the pandemic started. And so we just didn't really do a lot of traveling. Like we went to like some of the southern states. There's actually a lot of wineries in Georgia, surprisingly, and a lot of really good ones. And so we did a lot of that because it was close. And you know, you could be outside and everything still.
Yeah, but you guys were shut down.
Everything was so
California-
shut down, but
Yeah.
we've met so many people obviously doing wine. Like we've met so many people from California, and everyone's like, when are you guys going to go to California? Like, when are you going to do it? And we're like, we need to do it. So
Yeah, you definitely need to come here and visit. So and look us up, and we'll put you to work and let you get behind the scenes.
I would love that.
We love getting our hands dirty, Deborah.
Yeah, we're all about it.
That's great. I appreciate that. Well, thank you for having me. It was
Thank
fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Cheers to
much.
Deborah
Cheers
and
to
Dutcher
Deborah.
Crossing Winery. Thanks for your
Yes.
time and everything,
Yeah.
Deb. We appreciate it.
Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye. So good.